very much, Victor Howell here in Dallas with the best running back in Saints history, Deuce McAllister. Appreciate your time as always. We haven't seen a game quite like this in the Sean Payton era. In fact, at halftime, it was the worst deficit in the Payton era. What were you thinking watching this game?
I mean, what's hurt us the most is probably the fundamentals. I mean, it's the little things that are killing us right now. And, against a pretty good team, when they're rolling at home, it kind of got away from us. If we execute a little bit better in the first half, maybe you have an opportunity to really steal it there in the fourth quarter when things really start moving offensively. But, we just got to get back to the basics and just find out and figure out, who's all in and who's not. I mean, because right now it's not 53 guys committed, and that's the most disappointing part about it.
Talk about from a leadership standpoint, this team has talent defensively. I mean, we talked about it all preseason with Jarvis Byrd, Kenny Vaccaro, even Raphael Bush. I mean, the talent is there, but you lose a Roman Harper, you lose a Malcolm Jenkins, you lose a lot of leaders. How can that affect a football team?
Well, it definitely affects it, because you have to have a voice. I mean, there has to be a voice, and, right now, our leaders on defense aren't stepping up. They have to demand excellence. On offense, our leaders aren't stepping up, because that's an offense that goes out and scores 30. But if you turn the ball over and you don't help yourself, then we know the results. But right now, your leaders have to step up. And I mean, defensively, it's time for Cam Jordan to hey, look, this is my defense. Curtis Lofton, this is your defense. Vaccaro, it's a big step, being in year 2, but this is your defense. It's time for you to take over it. And if it takes getting in somebody's face and, that's what you have to do. There's not a lot of room for error if you're going to take that role, but at the same time, we expect it, the fans expect it, you put it on yourself, now it's time for you to go out and show it.
And a byproduct of that, I mean, the Saints offense was on the sidelines for a long period of time, especially early. Being in an offense, when you watch the opposing team start out with a almost 7.5 minute drive, how does that affect an offense?
Well, you have to stay loose. I mean, you have to stay loose, and it puts a little pressure on you because now you want to go and press, and, you want to do some things that are out of character for you. But at the same time, as a defense, they have to get off the field. Third downs, you have to figure out a way to get off the field. You can't give up chunks of running and then let the quarterback be able to play action and kill you. It's either one or the other. You can't do both. And as an offense, you have to get going. You have to roll. If your best package is empty with Jimmy and 3 receivers in the back, Cadet, then go with it. Particularly on the road when you're having issues as far as struggling. I mean, but we've got to figure out what's our sweet spot, and we got to stay there.
Talk about despite everything that happened in the first half, even in the third quarter, Vaccaro gets the sack. The Saints are driving again, but they get that big 4th down. And then, you have a call that, it's easy to second guess if it doesn't work. But what was your reaction to Morstead putting the ball in his hands instead of Drew Brees' hands?
Well, I mean, I don't think you were necessarily fooling somebody. It was a play that you saw had worked. They were in prevent defense, though, so you probably have to check out of it. I don't know if you want to burn a timeout. It's probably just go ahead and you lose the 5 yards. But if they've called it, you got to run it. I know Thomas is going to do his best, but at the same time, if you call it and they're in prevent, defense, then you got to throw it. You got to throw it up. You can't take that. And, it was his first time really live action doing it, so you can't necessarily blame it on him. But it's all about execution. It's all about execution. I was happy to see some emotion. I was just happy to see some emotion. It
came late, though.
It came really late, but I was just happy to see some emotion. And, maybe that's the spark that they need. Maybe it's getting spanked 24-0 in the first half, and that turns it around because first quarter is over. You got one bonus game next week, a home game, but, it's going back and reevaluating. Hey, look, if we're going to be serious and be contenders, we got to turn it around.
Is it amazing, though, when you look at this football team, that all the hype entering this season, that they're this bad on the road still compared to at home? I mean, there's such a discrepancy, and they try to downplay it, but it really is strange to watch a team be so different away from the Superdome.
Well, I think a lot of it is, just comfort. I think a lot of it is comfort, and then, it's a young team. It's really a young team, and, guys that have to make plays in certain areas, they're stepping up. You look at it, you lost your left tackle, probably for more than a half. And, Bryce came in and did some good stuff. He helped to solidify it a little bit, and I think as the game went on, Sean felt a little more comfortable opening it up. But, I mean, at the same time, there were just too many missed opportunities as a whole, And, there's definitely a lot of room to grow. Hopefully they're frustrated. Hopefully they're disappointed and hurt. you get a chance to go out one game and go and correct everything else.
Final question. It's hard to find a silver lining tonight, but if there is one, the rest of the NFC South, it seems misery loves company, because if the Saints win tonight, they're tied for first. They lose tonight, they're in last, but they're right behind a Falcons team and a Carolina team that aren't playing that well either. So a lot of football left to be played, and a lot of football left to decide who's going to win this division.
So the best part about it, as ugly as it is, you still have an opportunity. I mean, as ugly, and it's ugly right now in the NFC South. I mean, but you still get to beat each other up. Starts next week. So fix your house, take care of your business, take some time off, and then go on a run.
All right. Well, listen, as always, we appreciate your time. Good to see you on the road, and we'll see you next week as well.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. So many times we see this guy in the record book. When Kyrie Robinson ripped off that 67-yard run tonight, it was the longest run for the Saints since Deuce McAllister had a 71-yard gain against Carolina back in 2004. He didn't even know it had been that long either. Back to you guys. We'll have Drew Brees and a couple other players here in Dallas.